Back in June 2022, I did a video of the first Scooby-Doo movie during its 20-year anniversary, and as of now, its sequel, Scooby-Doo 2 Monsters Unleashed, also turned 20 years old. I did mention that I will one day do a review on the sequel, and it's finally happening. Let's just see if the sequel is good or bad. We'll find out after the story. The Mystery Gang attended the opening of an exposition museum, but the celebration is interrupted by an evil masked figure. It's up to the gang to save Coolsville from an attack of the past monsters in which they were brought to life, and find out the clues from the evil masked figure, which I'll talk about that later. So, my opinions on this movie changed about 3 or 4 times in the past years. I did watch it in theaters when it came out, and I thought it was pretty good. Then I had a DVD for years, but then watching it again in the late 2000s, I didn't like it. In fact, almost downright hating it. So I rewatched it again before doing the video review. I will say it is a little better than I remember. I mean, it's not bad that I remember, but it's not great either. So I decided to put the pros and cons of this movie. I'll start off with the good stuff first. I like that the cast reprised their roles in the sequel since they fit their role pretty well for the most part. Matthew Lillard as Shaggy is still the standout out of the cast, which I mentioned that before. The rest are fine, which I'll get to the criticisms. The monsters do look like their designs from the cartoon, like the Tar Monster, the Black Knight, the Volt Ghost, etc. And the new characters are welcome additions. I'm not going to say some are well written or whatever. Alicia Silverstone plays a reporter where she interviews or confronts Fred and Daphne. Seth Green plays a curator of the museum and has a love interest of Velma, which I like that Velma was getting along with him, which I know people will say, isn't Velma? Yeah, let's just cut to it. But yeah, fine new addition to the characters. Besides the monsters, I like that there's some nice homage to the cartoon. The flashback of the Mystery Gang was nice to see at the young age, though the flashback is pretty short. The sets were nice with more variety over the first one, and there's once in a while a good joke. Not all of them work, but I did get a little chuckle with the exception of this one.
You're not being calm! I needed that. I needed that too. You're pushing your luck, Scoob.
Yeah, that one gave me a good laugh. Speaking of humor, the writing is actually not that bad. There's some funny ideas here and there, like the scene at a bar where the people are playing games with mystery and characters on them. So, that's about it for the good. But yeah, let's get to the bad stuff. While there is a mystery in this movie, they just sucked out the mystery focus. The ending kinda ruined it. I won't say anything about it, but let's just say it was a character that was only there by one scene, and that's it. I guess you can say the first movie did that too, but I thought that worked because of Scrappy. But yeah, it's a major letdown for the mystery. Also, the special effects are not very good. I know I had the same exact problem as the first one, but it's the monsters that ruin the effects even more than these creatures in the first one. While Fred and Daphne got some little downgrade to their characters, Velma got a major downgrade. While I like that she has the intelligence side, the part that bothers me is getting along with Patrick. And of course, this scene. Like, come on. I seriously do not have a crush on her when I was 9. I'd rather have these females than her. And while I praise a little bit of the jokes are not funny. Mainly the delivery, like Scooby acting like he has rabies. Okay, is it trying to make me laugh? There are cringe moments like Scooby dancing while dressed up as a dancer in disguise. Yeah, this sequel has more cringe than the first one. Say all you want about the cringe in the first one, but at least it wasn't as bad as I remember. This one I remember being pretty bad. But yeah, after watching Scooby-Doo 2 again, it's a little better than I remember, but not by much. It's more of a one year and out the other type movie. But I know some people will say it is better than the first one. And I get what they're saying, but it didn't leave an impact, at least for me. The first one left an impact because it was a franchise I was a fan of, and it was a live action movie. And while the first movie is not great, it has so much problems, it is a guilty pleasure of mine. Sadly, the second one is not going to be my guilty pleasure list. I appreciate the directions for the sequel, but it's not good. I will always be a fan of Scooby-Doo, especially the original cartoon I grew up with, because it has a good mystery. And while there are so many incarnations, the sequel is not all bad. I don't know if it's on the same range as those Scooby-Doo movies that Cartoon Network aired, but it's not as worse as the Velma series on Max. Yeah, we all know how bad it is. Monsters Unleashed is more on mid of where I put this movie with other movies I've watched. I've seen some movies that don't hold up, like Garfield live action movie. It's not quite up there, but it's pretty close. And I've seen far worse ones out there. Also, writer James Gunn mentioned that there was going to be a third one, but it got cancelled because the second one grossed less at the box office. It's a shame not having a third one. That is all for the review of Scooby-Doo 2 Monsters Unleashed. I know it wasn't a good idea, but you know, it turned 20 and I wanted to do it similar to the first live action movie. If you have great memories watching this movie as a kid, fair enough, I did like it as a kid. And speaking of that, the next video is going to be a movie review, and you guys will like it over this one. I will see you all for the next movie review.